Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So there's some Dalvin Cook rumors swirling. He was officially bought out or mutually parted ways yesterday with the Jets, so he's a free agent. He did clear waivers as well. That was like the big question mark if anybody would claim him in waivers, but he cleared. Josina Anderson reported that the Ravens had interest. I saw a report from ESPN today that the Ravens and Cowboys were interested. And the question then becomes, do we need him? Does it make sense? I don't think we need him. I don't think it's a make or break signing by any means, but does it make sense? Sure. I'm always for adding talent, and especially talented depth. And I think Melvin Gordon is also one of those people. He has fresh legs. Dalvin Cook has fresh legs. They have not used him a lot this year. And Gus and Justice Hill have definitely earned, especially their play of late, have earned the majority of the snaps. I will not argue that. I don't want to sign Dalvin Cook for him to become our lead back right away. He hasn't been on this team all year long. I don't want Gus Edwards and Justice Hill's role to be diminished that much. I'm not saying anything like that. But if you have an opportunity to sign a talent like Dalvin Cook and also have a guy like Melvin Gordon on your team, and they're just depth pieces in case Gus gets banged up, Justice Hill gets banged up. We've seen Justice Hill and Gus banged up many times this year and before. So it would not be a mind-blowing scenario for something to happen to another one of our running backs at some point. So why not have a Melvin Gordon and Dalvin Cook kind of waiting there? You can activate one of those and sprinkle them in here and there. Now, I don't know if Dalvin Cook's going to want a role like that. I think that's where the question becomes, does he want to go to Dallas and maybe get more carries than he would in Baltimore? So I'm all for signing him. I don't think we need to sign him, but I'm all for it if he's okay with that kind of role. I don't think he's going to have a prominent role in this team if everyone stays healthy. If he's okay with that and just kind of wants to be a part of the ride and be there to step up if someone does get hurt, if, his number is called, he'll be ready. I think he'll be ready more than a lot of other people that are available. So I think that if he's okay with that, then the Ravens should definitely sign him. I mean, it's only going to affect the rest of this season. It's not going to be like a salary cap issue moving forward or anything like that. We're going to have probably a whole new running back room next year anyway, or at least a lot of different faces. So I'm totally down with signing Dalvin Cook for a few games. But let me know your thoughts on the situation. Would you want Dalvin Cook? Would you be interested in signing him and bringing him onto this roster for this playoff stretch? Or do you like the three backs we have now? And if Gus or Justice Hill gets banged up, you're completely confident in Melvin Gordon's ability to step into one of their roles. In other news, it's official. John Harbaugh confirmed Lamar Jackson will not play Saturday. I definitely think that's the safest thing. It was kind of obvious, but there was some chatter earlier in the week. What should they do? The rust thing is so important. Definitely sit him, man. I understand the rust conversation is important, and it happened in 2019, and that's a realistic possibility for anyone who doesn't play football or anyone who doesn't even do their job for 3 weeks. Don't go to your job for 3 weeks and then show up. That first day just feels a little weird, It just takes a little bit of feeling out process because like, man, I haven't done this in 3 weeks. So that's always going to be there. But potential rust does not outweigh the risk of losing Lamar to a serious injury in a game that doesn't matter. So this is an obvious decision. I would imagine Odell and Ronnie Stanley and Morgan Moses and Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey will also not play. There can only be 6 inactive, so I would imagine a lot of guys are going to dress and then just not play much at all and kind of be the third string, even though they're the starter. And we're going to have all the backups in against a Steelers team that is fighting for their playoff lives, but we're not fighting for anything at all besides staying healthy and getting to that divisional round as locked in as possible. Great decision by Harbaugh. Lamar seems cool with it. He also spoke today, said that him and Harbaugh had that conversation. He felt like it was best too. I think we can all agree it's definitely best. I'm like having a sigh of relief seeing that he's not playing today. I was like, all right, cool. Like, we got Lamar in the divisional round for sure. You know what I mean? Just because of the last few years, man. We lost Lamar for the season, the last 2 seasons. Now, we were never rolling into the season like this since 2019, but we had a strong team these last 2 years. You know, the Ravens could have made a run. I know we didn't have a great passing game, but we could have won some games. We would have won that Bengals game last year with Lamar Jackson. So if we had Lamar, who knows what we could have done in the playoffs last year. So now we're guaranteed to have Lamar in the divisional round, and it just feels good. I'm happy about that. I feel confident in what this team's doing and where they're headed. Mina Kimes on her show brought up a great point about changing the way we give Coach of the Year. So just to summarize her point, I would play the clip, but Fox took all my money from the Richard Sherman clip I played on the last episode. They took the whole video, copyrighted it, so I got to chill with playing the clips a little bit because I put a lot of work into this, and we barely make any money at all as content creators anyway. So the little 30, 50 bucks that I can make from the video, you know, I want to be able to get that. But her point to Dominique Foxworth on her show was we give the MVP to the best player on the best team, usually a quarterback. And then the Coach of the Year is always given to like the surprise of the year, the coach that, you know, almost takes a team from nothing to something and makes the most noise, and everyone's kind of shocked. That coach usually gets Coach of the Year. But why aren't we kind of mixing in, you know, some discretion of giving it to a coach who just has a dominant season, almost an all-time season? And I know the Ravens' record at 13-3, and whether it becomes 14-3 or 13-4 is not an all-time record, but their point differential, you know, just the way they're the top-ranked defense, the top 5-ranked offense, that combination of a team and their success statistically, how they've led more than any team ever, I think just a dominant season this year. Why can't that award of Coach of the Year go to a coach who has a season like that? And to pile on to that argument, the coaching changes that John Harbaugh made this season. Mike Macdonald, well, I guess Mike Macdonald was last season, but so then the last 2 years, Mike Macdonald comes in. He makes that decision to bring him from Michigan over to replace Wink Martindale. And then this year to finally release Greg Roman. And then this season to get Todd Monken to lead the offense and create a new scheme for this offense that works so well with Lamar and the weapons that they went and got. And to get Chuck Smith to come in and work with the pass rushers and switch T. Martin back to quarterback coach. I feel like John Harbaugh's coaching staff is supporting him in almost a perfect way. It's everything's meshing together so well. And I think it'd be deserving to give a guy who made those decisions, who stepped out and said, no, we are changing things. You know, we tried to go one way and it worked for a little bit and then it stalled out. And we weren't moving forward, and now we need to change to this direction. And he did that. It's working very well. He's led a dominant team to have a dominant season, and I feel like he should be in consideration. I'm not going to be mad whether he wins Coach of the Year or not. You know, I don't think it's as obvious as Lamar winning MVP this season. And I 100% agree with Mina. I think it would be really interesting to give the Coach of the Year to a coach that just dominated and to kind of have that be in the mix, the equation of who gets Coach of the Year. You know, it could still go to a coach here and there, or most seasons or whatever, to a coach that kind of surprises you and shocks you and takes a team from nothing to something. But every now and then when a coach just absolutely wrecks the league, I feel like that coach could get it too. And I feel like that award would go to John Harbaugh this year if that's how the voters wanted to vote. It's just an interesting point. I don't think it's a huge deal whether he wins it or not, but I feel like he is deserving of it, and he's definitely deserving to be in the conversation of Coach of the Year. But that's it for today, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.